Alright, YouTubers, D-Doc here. As you can see behind me is kind of a gloomy gust, kind of rainy day here in central western Iowa. So I think today's just going to be a little bit about, what did I call it? Random ramblings. Just to kind of look around and catch up on what's been going on here at the doc's office. So, first I'll show you, bought a new tripod, which I think is gonna make things handy. A little bit newer style version. The one I was using before was an old one I'd picked up at a thrift store, and while it worked fairly well, it was limited in height, and one of the adjusting legs wouldn't stay up, so it was a question as to whether it was going to hold the camera steady or whether after I set it up it might droop down and fall on the grass. And I found a real nice price at this at a local retail store, and got some nice features to it. Nice little bubble leveler so you can level the tripod. Then on the mount is another one, so you can level the camera. Lots of features. This mast here's got a little crank knob and a tightener knob, so you can raise and lower, which is nice. Nice adjustment legs. 2 spots to adjust each leg. So, standing here in front of the garage, there's the old 96 Ford Crown Victoria, kind of acting like a storage unit for now. I don't know how good we're going to see this. The 78 shovel head in its storage place, charging the battery up. I like to keep the battery charged. As you can probably tell here, the garage is a disorganized mess. So one of these gloomy gust days, I'm gonna try to clean that out. I probably should do that today, but just not getting around to it. I'm gonna put the camera back on the tripod here. There we go. Nope, didn't quite get it in. There, that's better. So, let's take a little walk. I'll show you a project I've been kind of working on here the last couple days. Whoop. Got this idea from Elderly Iron. This old truck, Redneck Restoration, and also, let's take a shortcut, from Classic Truck Rescue, to use the tripod when walking around with the camera. Might give us a little bit steadier perspective. I quit bumping the legs into the ground. So I had a brain fart yesterday. I used to have 2 of these portable garage structures. Bought them from another retail store years ago. And had this maple tree in the backyard. My fir trees. And the maple trees have seen their better days. There's been some branches dying off. Sorry about the wind, it's a gloomy gust day. And used to store my F-250 back here and my old 66 International under the tents. And one day I come out here about a year ago, and one of these limbs had broke off. It was about 8 inches in diameter, about 20 foot long, and landed on both of these structures. They were moved a little bit over to the right. You can see the bare patches of ground where one of the trucks sat. And Well, you can probably tell there's some damage and bent pieces on the frame. Got a couple of pieces left sitting there. So I took the best pieces of both the frames and made one. And I don't have a tarp up on it yet. They're a little bit expensive, so that's going to have to wait. And I'm still working on the F250. This is where it's going to be stored. So when I get it to where I can depend on it a little bit better, then I'll bring it back here and park it and put some tarps over this. But I had a brain fart the other day. I thought, well, heck, I knew it was going to be raining this weekend. Let's set this up. Whoop. Let's see, what did I do? There we go. So, I thought, well, I might want to work on the old F250 a little bit. I'll show you some of what I'm going to be working on there later. And I knew it was going to be raining, so I had a brain fart and thought, well, shoot, I might have enough pieces left over from the other portable structure here. Maybe I can make part of one. So you can see that this one's got 1, 2, 3, 4 ribs to it. And I went through the old junk pile there and found out that I had enough to make 3 ribs, and kind of made that work. So I set it up here in the backyard, and I'll take a walk back up front again and make myself a little portable structure with a tarp over it so I could work on the F250 while it's raining. Right now we're in a little bit of a lull, so it's not currently raining. So that's what I did. 1, 2, and 3. Had just enough pieces to make myself a little dry area where I can work on the F250. I'll try to level this up a little bit. So pardon the shakiness. All right. So let's see. Let's lower you down here so I can show you what's going on. Don't know if this is going to work too well. Need a little adjustment here. I'm kind of digging this new tripod. So here's what I come up with on the F250. It's overheating because I don't have a fan shroud. Maybe I'll just better take the old camera out of the unit. I don't have a fan shroud on the radiator. Now I suspect my biggest problem is with this old 390 engine, you need a 4-core radiator. The original radiator for this sprung a leak many years ago. And I think around the time of my first heart attack 3 years ago, I went on a metal scrapping run. And I think I threw that old radiator out to the metal scrappers. And I probably should have saved it and just had a new 4-core core put in. But this is a 2-core radiator, And I think the problem is without a shroud, it's not keeping the radiator cool enough, so the engine runs a little bit hot. And I adapted this radiator from a different truck, and I don't know if we're going to be able to see it, but it doesn't quite fit where it needs to go, and I've just got it hanging here by some long bolts. And right down in here, let's see, it's real tight against the brackets. So what I need to do is to shave this so that I can push this radiator back against the front support. And the reason I need to do that is I have a fan shroud that will fit, kind of fit, around this fan blade and sit in here. But talking to my Chevy mechanic, he says the back of the fan shroud should line up to where when you look down the side you can't see the back of the fan blade, and when you come around just a little bit you should be able to see the back of the fan blade. So I test mounted this fan shroud a couple of weeks ago, and it actually wants to stick back here about a ½ inch to an inch behind the back of this fan blade. And that doesn't provide enough draft from what he was saying. So I got to looking, and you can see I have about a ½ inch, 3/4 inch gap right here. But I can't get the radiator back any closer because it's running into the brackets right here. So I'm going to have to get out the grinding wheel or my Dremel tool, probably the grinding wheel, and shave off just a little bit along this edge down in here so I can push this radiator back against the front radiator support. And I think that will get the radiator a little bit farther away, and then I can put that fan shroud on, and that should line up the back of the fan shroud right even with the back of this fan blade. And I'm hoping that when I do that, of course you can see this hose here is just a little bit kinked right there because it's pushed back just a little bit, and the bottom hose is the same way. Hard to see down there. Yeah, can't really get you a good shot of it. But I think once I trim the side of this radiator and get it tight up against that wall, that'll relax the hoses a little bit, and that will give me enough room to put that fan shroud in there, and it'll be able to be at the right position to make a good draft. Hopefully that'll cool the engine down a little bit. It's not running really hot, but it's running a little bit hotter than I like. I'd like to have it run a little bit cooler. I've test driven this truck over to grocery shop 20 miles away. By the time I get there, it's running about 3/4 hot on the gauge. And that's just a little bit too much for me. So I think I'll try that out, and I contemplated doing that today. That's why I built this little shelter. And it was raining here earlier today. About the only rain I saw was a little bit of mist on this side of the hood, but the cab stayed dry, and it was dry enough in here that I could possibly work underneath here and be able to stay dry doing things instead of getting wet. So I think it'll work good. I'm pretty pleased with myself that I had this brain fart and decided to use these extra pieces here to make somewhat of a portable tent. Now, I think in the future, right now I've just got it bungee corded to the truck, the tarp to the frame, the bungee corded to the truck, and then I've got a couple of motorcycle straps here to the frame, running down to the front fender wells to, just in case we get some wind, it won't pick up the whole structure and blow it away and twist and bend everything up. But another thought I had was, instead of using these bungee cords, I might just take some metal coat hanger wire through the eyelet grommets, wrap it around the frame, do the same on the other side. Looks like it's going to fit fairly well. And then eventually I might just, after I'm done working on this truck, I might just move the structure more over in line with the garage door, so I'm not centered at all. And that way I could park the Tahoe nose in front of there. Maybe just keep things a little bit drier on the Tahoe. For right now, I like it positioned where it is so that when the weather improves, I can get the Harley out and go for a ride. So that's about where I'm sitting. And what's stopping me from working on it today was a little bit of laziness. And then I have a meeting to go to tomorrow for my motorcycle organization. And one of the fellow members, one of the lady members, called me up about an hour ago and asked if I could pick her up on the way over and give her a ride over to the meeting. Not a problem. And then on the way back, we're going to stop at Menards, and she wants to buy some mulch for her property, and then we can haul it in my truck, my Tahoe. So I thought, well, if that's the case, then rather than dinking around outside, maybe I'd better spend the afternoon cleaning out my Tahoe. As being a construction worker, journeyman mason, I tend to be a little bit dirty, and this is my work truck. The car over here, that was supposed to be my vehicle to haul women around in, so I could keep that car nice and clean, be a nice smooth ride, etc. Someday we'll get back to that. But this is my work truck, and that's just the way it is. When I finish drinking a soda, why I drain the dribbles out of the can and throw them in the back, and then when I do a recycle day, recycle my paper and cardboard and aluminum cans and plastics. Then I gather everything up, put it in the truck, and take it up to the recycle bin. So I'm gonna have to clean the truck out, make it suitable for a woman to come sit in, wipe a little bit of dust out, make it nice for her to sit in, clean the back out so we can haul that mulch. But that's just about where I stand for now. I've been doing some cleaning up around the house since my health is a little better. And it's amazing what 3 stents will do for a person's health. I can tell you 2.5 months ago I couldn't do a whole bunch. So I've been cutting down some trees in the back, burning up the brambles and whatnot, and then I've had some easy chairs on the front porch that I needed to get rid of, and that's part of the reason I was fixing up this F-250, was to haul things to the dump. Then I got to thinking, I have to pay to take those chairs to the dump. They'll burn. But there's some metal in them, springs and whatnot. So